I think I feel like doing Find the Feminism more. Georgette, that is something new that I'm trying to incorporate into every week going forward, where we kind of, take a couple of minutes to really focus ourselves on what are the feminist themes that came up in the reading. And Nicole, this is actually book number 6 that this group of people is reading together.
Okay.
And all of the books have had some feminist aspects to them, but we didn't focus on it.
Oh, okay.
And so I kind of want to get us in the habit of saying, well, what really was there, or what caught your eye. So does anybody want to say a word about that? What Black feminist concerns were raised in this week's reading? One of the things I'll say that came out was the influence that Black women who had been in the workforce, paid or unpaid, but who had developed a certain self-confidence and assertiveness that allowed them to speak out in forums where white women were not yet able to do that. And so that issue of the influence of Black women like Maria Stewart and Sojourner Truth on the white women's, or the women's movement overall, was one of the themes that kind of came out here. Anybody else?
I think for me, it was a wonderful eye-opener that most of the women were in some way were feminists. I think it was laced through it all. And Michelle, the example that you gave about the woman who the master just wanted and he wanted and he wanted, I saw that as an extreme act of feminism, just to stand up to that. And the only reason why she eventually gave into him was because he was going to separate her family. So it just says to me, and I love Toni Morrison's quote about Black women. And I just think that I need to look at more of us as feminists, because we are.
Right. Even when we don't necessarily use that language, and that's why I really want us to look at the behavior and the issues that we see, because Sojourner Truth probably didn't call herself a feminist,
right?
But if you can stand up in front of a group of men like that and say, "Ain't I a woman?" you're a feminist. But Georgette, how might you? Did you?
Well, you took my example. I was going to use. But well, I mean, you were saying that. Well, it is interlaced all through the chapter, and particularly the violent and nonviolent activities of resistance. I'd have to say, and the part about how, because before this book, I didn't consider that the slave women were actively practicing what we would call abortion or contraception. And I thought that was so powerful, taking control of your body. And while they're trying to figure out, well, why ain't Bessie having any youngins there, because, grandma back here could mix some herbs and potions because they knew about that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I wondered, wow, how would that have been if they had all done that? Well, we wouldn't have been here probably, but, would that have put a stop to slavery?
Right.
Okay, if they had, just shut it down. Okay.
Right. All of them.
We ain't heifers. We're not farm animals. You're not breeding over here.
Right.
Find something else to do.
Right.
Wow, that was, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I was listening to what Georgette just said, and one thing that I came to mind yes, it could have. That was a possibility, which I smiled. They could shut down slavery. But what psychological effect did it have on these women? That's been passed on generation after generation after generation. And it did go on because my Nana, my father's mother, has told me some very interesting stories about in her time, which wasn't during slavery, but during the Jim Crow laws in North Carolina.
You're talking about abortion?
Yes, where this was still happening. Grandmom or whomever, auntie was still taking care of business. Because even then, a lot of the women that were pregnant, some were even married, mind you.
Yeah.
And of course, women didn't have many rights. Their husband had almost total say over their body. We're going to have 10 kids, 12 kids, 15 kids, taking these chickens out here. So women were still having abortions then for wanting to control their bodies. So,
and even today, it's a feminist issue, and it's still about controlling your body.
About controlling your body. So we're still fighting, and it amazes me. I was amazed when I read that because I didn't know they had it like that, but apparently Grandma did. But it just amazes me. After all these years, we have a bunch of old white men standing up on Capitol Hill telling me what the hell I'm supposed to do with my body. Right. It's amazing. Still those same folks. That's crazy. So how far have we come? Like nowhere.
Well, yeah, I guess the one thing I could say is kind of looking at Maria Stewart and specifically like the role she played or her influence. And so I noticed that Giddings explained that Stewart just in a way she complicates and interrogates the Victorian ethic, but she also kind of upholds it. But I would say that to me, that spoke to me because it kind of addressed the issue of intersectional feminism, right? So like this notion that there were Black women who were concerned about not just simply the uplift of the race, but the gender oppression, as well as the labor issues.
And that's why she had to get out of town.
Right. And so it just kind of spoke to me as like, introducing, intersectional feminism.
Great.